How important are plugins when analog mastering? Now, with that, plugins are very, very important. Now, it's not like a lot of people, they have these sorts of discussions where it's like, what's better, digital mastering or analog mastering? Well, there's pros and cons to both. Analog mastering has a far superior sound, and you will get a better sound with analog mastering over digital mastering. There's a better 3D image. Digital just sounds a bit narrow, a bit too digital, a bit too. It's dull. It's kind of. There's a lot of major benefits to analog mastering, but that's not to say that there are digital aspects of digital mastering that you can't incorporate into analog mastering. Now, when people have this discussion of analog versus digital mastering, which is better, it's hybrid. Like, we live in a world where, like, let's combine the two. You know, there's at no point have I ever kind of got a job in for analog mastering and gone, right, I'm just using analog. Because digital plugins have major benefits. You know, digital emulations of hardware is brilliant, and they do have unique qualities that are really worthwhile adding into an analog mastering chain. For instance, a prime example, tools like Soothe, Goldfoss, things like that. They are tools that don't exist in the analog world, because they require kind of AI, and they require digital DSP, whatever. They require a plugin. It's not something that is in a hardware format. By not using that plugin, let's say for argument's sake, Soothe. Now, by not using that plugin and just going, no, I'm only using analog, you are limiting yourself and the sound that you can achieve, because Soothe is so good. And Soothe will do something that no de-esser will do. It's not like that. Soothe will evolve over time, and it will move throughout the track, and it will do an incredible job that isn't possible in the analog world. So combine that with the analog chain, and you get a far better sound. You know, there's things like mid-side. If you haven't got mid-side in your mastering chain, mid-side in the box, mid-side using a plugin, you won't achieve as good a sound as if you were using an EQ in mid-side, out the box in analog, but you still gain the ability to use mid-side processing in your mastering chain, even if your analog chain doesn't have mid-side. So it's really beneficial for you to be using plugins in mid-side in the mastering chain. Now, one thing you don't want to be doing is going, right, I'm going to go out the box to an EQ, come back in. I'm going to go then to a plugin. Then I'm going to go back out the box and then back in. Then I'm going to go back out, back in to a compressor. And I'm, you know, after that, you've done 10 parts of conversion, and it's like, ideally, what you want to be doing is, if you are going out the box, go out the box, go into your analog chain, run through your analog chain, come back in the box, then do digital processing. Digital before you go out. So digital processing, any plug-in processing you want to do, process. Come out the box, use the converters. Out the box, process through analog chain. Back in the box, digital processing. At those two stages, use the digital processing in a way that benefits the analog chain. It's not like you're doing all the digital processing and then when it hits the analog chain, there's nothing to do. There's certain parts that you do. Oh, here's a same company as Soothe, Spiff. It's a brilliant dynamic tool that you can add punch into your track using this, and it's far better than any transient designer. I mean, I've got the Alicia envelope there. Brilliant in the analog world. It's an incredible transient designer. It doesn't do what Spiff does. So the difference there is that there's a massive pro to using something like Spiff, to using these tools that are plugins, you can gain a lot more in the mastering chain. Now, what we shouldn't do as an industry as a whole is kind of limit ourselves in any way, shape, or form. And by not using plugins when mastering, embrace that technology, because that technology doesn't exist in this end, in the mastering, in the analog world. So take what's good from the plugin world, take what's good from the digital world, take what's good from the analog world, combine the two, and you'll achieve something far better than if you were to go, oh, I'm just using analog or I'm just using digital. Combine the two, take what's good from both, combine those, and you'll create something much, much better.